Welcome to This Week in Coworking, where industry leaders get succinct, actionable insights.
We are going behind the news this week with Alison Rogers over at Blush Cowork. But before we do that and we dig into the fantastic, exciting news that they're about to share or have shared recently, let's dig into who Alison is and her co-working story. Alison, firstly, thank you for joining us. How are you today?
Thank you so much for having me.
That's an absolute pleasure. Big time fan here. But before we get started, Alison, no one wakes up as a child and says, hey, I'm going to start a co-working space. Tell us a little bit more about your journey and what led you to create Blush Cowork.
Blush Cowork really came together for me organically, mostly during the pandemic. So the years leading up to the pandemic, there have been various times when I work from home. I was always seeking out quality childcare, and that is something that Blush Cowork offers is on-site childcare. So these were just personal needs that I had. And then during the pandemic, when I was working from home and my spouse was also working from home and we had 2 kids at home with no childcare, all of those factors really came together for me. And so I said, there needs to be a space like this. There needs to be a co-working community here in Cary. I would like for it to have on-site childcare. So that's how it came together for me.
So many people create co-working spaces out of their own necessity, whether they have excess space or they have this unmet need. That was kind of your founding story as well. But you've also had a whole lot of really great wins since then. Tell us a little bit of kind of the awards or grants that you guys have received for the amazing work you guys do.
Well, in 2023, we were nominated by one of my members, actually, for a Lenovo Evolve Small Empowering the Carolinas Award. So we basically, without me really knowing, I was competing against 650 other businesses in North and South Carolina for being something that is innovative and supportive of small businesses and communities. And we ended up being the grand prize winner. So that was a huge moment for me and something I really didn't expect, especially given the other businesses that I got to meet among the finalists. So that was announced in 2023 at a Carolina Panthers game. So on the field. So
Nice.
that was just, it was thrilling. Yeah, that was a really big win. And then this year in 2025, we received NCID Ecosystem Grant Award, which is enormous as well. So not something that I ever thought we would be able to get, but it's really powered a lot of my programming and my focus on other entrepreneurs in this area. I've been working really hard on a lot of events and programming with different partners in order to support the community that we've built here.
It's amazing. And so how big is Blush right now? Like how many members, how many adult members and kid members are you currently helping?
Oh, you know what? I'm trying to think like if I've counted the kid members. Like I know kind of we have a good group of like, let's say 20 kids who come on a regular basis, but I think we're at 91 members right now. We have a lot more people that use it for events or conference rooms and things like that. So we have a lot more actively involved community outside of our members, but our members is right now at 91
Wow.
when I looked this morning.
Love that. And congratulations on the awards and the grants. I love it when members nominate operators and just kind of show that this is something that matters to them. And that speaks wonders to the work that you and your team are doing. Now, before I dive into exactly what the news is that we're going to discuss, obviously you've had a lot of great wins, but there've obviously been some challenges. What are the most annoying challenges that you've had to overcome over the last couple of years building out Blush?
I mean, co-working is all about community, right? But I've done this by myself and I didn't necessarily set out to do that, but that's how it's happened. So everything kind of comes down to me. I've found that to be a big stumbling block. And even though I feel like I've been capable and I've been successful, that doesn't mean it hasn't been very hard on me personally to, kind of really just live and breathe Blush for the last 4 years. I feel like that's been the biggest challenge. And in a place where you're creating a community and seeking community, I really had to operate as such an individual.
Yes.
And it's not saying that other people have not helped me and things like
course.
that, but it really does all come down to me.
Hmm.
in this space.
Yeah, it's definitely the host dilemma, right? You want everyone to come and feel comfortable and connect and feel all the benefits, but oftentimes you're so busy hosting that you don't get
Hmm.
that benefits. And normally when we see operators have great successes over a 4-year period, there's the logical expansions question. Do you merge with someone else? Do you buy another co-working space? Do you expand to a second location? Or do you sell your co-working space and be like, that was a great run, I'm now looking for my community? You went a little bit in another direction, another growing trend that we're following in the news. There's obviously this world of franchising, and you've kind of partnered up with the Coven. So tell us a little bit more about that. What is the news there? What should people know about this news that you're sharing?
Yes, no, this is very exciting. So I'm getting a chance to join a bigger community, both for myself and for my members, and offer my existing and growing community even more within that footprint. I've always, since I had the seed of an idea for Blush, admired the Coven and the work that they've done and had that in mind as like, oh, this is something that they did and look to them as an example and a model. And then when I opened, a couple of the founders of the Coven reached out, and we've always been closely connected, especially with Alex. She really was, she reached out and she was kind of almost like a mentor of sorts to me. It was such a natural fit because our values are very aligned.
Hmm.
In February, after talking to them and being closely aligned with them for years, Alex and Aaron from the Coven were speaking in Chapel Hill. They were giving a talk, so of course I wanted to go meet them in person. They mentioned that North Carolina was a place where they wanted to be. It took me a little while of thinking, but I was just like, I think this makes so much more sense
Hmm.
for me to be able to be a part of that. And how can we make that happen? And so, yeah, now I get to say that I'm, you know, not just an admirer of the Coven, but part of the Coven.
It's great. So tell me, how does a deal work? Are you joining as a franchisee? Are you joining as an owner? Is it some sort of partnership? What is it? I mean, what does it look like?
I am joining as a community owner. So I own Blush and it will become the Coven Cary. I have so much more, support, and my members will have, like I said, a bigger community to
Hmm.
join. They'll have access to their digital community. They'll be able to go to different locations. And so it's a way to kind of grow the community for them
Yep.
by leaps and bounds. I'm already overwhelmed with my one location, right? And being the single person. The thought of like trying to expand Blush just by itself,
Hmm.
I just don't think that one person can. So this is a way to do that and kind of merge with a brand that makes sense for me and my community.
I mean, it makes total sense. And I'm trying to just thinking out loud. Since it happened pretty organically, I'm guessing you weren't really looking for other options. You weren't looking to sell. You weren't looking to open a second location. Just the conversation spurred an idea, and this kind of made sense.
Yeah. No, I've been looking at opening other locations the whole time
Yeah.
I've been open and looking for, partners that made sense for that kind of thing. And it just never really worked out. And as Blush kind of grew and evolved, and it was so much about um, me and being here, it just nothing really ever fit and made sense.
Hmm.
Nothing ever worked out as far as that. But I mean, I know that there is a huge demand for communities like Blush,
Hmm.
in North Carolina and other places. And obviously, I think that this model really like works and
Yep.
I want it to be other places. I want it to be convenient for other people, like it is convenient for me, someone who lives a mile away from
Hmm.
Blush, and not because we've had people, because of the childcare and that unique offering, we have people that commute up to like 2 or 3 hours a day.
Oh,
I want it to
yes.
be, easy for people to get here. I want
Hmm.
to make it as easy as possible. And I just like kind of going down the route of like doing it myself, just nothing ever really panned out.
Yeah.
So this just, this was the first thing that really like I was like, yes, this makes so much sense and I want to do this. And I've been approached by larger co-working brands,
Mhm.
I'm
Of course.
sure most independent operators have. And it was just not interested in anything that was going to take away the good, unique things that make
Yeah.
Blush special for people, or things that will diminish the community and kind of homogenize like what we have going over here on here. So I think that, like I said, the Coven, because it was something that I always looked to for inspiration, and because our values were so aligned, it seemed like the only natural fit.
I love that. And so I'm assuming obviously the childcare part element of what makes Blush Blush is going to stay. I don't think the Coven has other locations that have childcare, or do they?
They do.
Right.
I think they have one location that has a small childcare program for
Mhm.
anything, like for when anybody approached me about anything.
Yep.
Because I said, the childcare is really at the heart, even though it's an amenity, but it
Yeah.
is at the heart of what we do, because that is part of taking care of the people in the community and taking care of their needs.
Yeah.
And that's not something I'm willing to compromise on.
I applaud you for that. And I totally agree that it's not an amenity. It is what makes these spaces needed, especially close to homes, close to like urban and suburban areas. We're still trying to pull together a undercurrents deep dive into sustainable childcare and co-working, which I'm absolutely sure we'll pull you back into for that.
Okay.
But what else is not going to change for your members? I'm assuming they're going to change. The digital stuff might change. Maybe apps will change. Maybe names of where they are will change, but the address will stay the same. Is there anything else that's going to change for your members come 1st of October?
I think it'll be eventually a little less pink, and we'll bring in a little bit more of the Coven's blue and some more art and things that I really wanted to do regardless. I think that the options are actually like growing
Mhm.
as far as how they can interact with the Coven Cary. So there's some new product offerings, but for the members who are kind of are here and say like, these are the things that work for me, really, like, it will be very smooth for them. Other than, yes, there will be an app change for, that the
Of
app that
course.
they use to schedule conference rooms and childcare, but that's actually a really good change, because now it's an app, but it will also be, you can access it in a browser window. So it'll be even easier for people to do those, especially with the childcare where you're
Yes.
scheduling out, maybe like bulk scheduling like a week or two at a time.
Yes.
So
Preaching
just
to the
good
choir here.
changes.
Yes, totally get that. Now, I wanted to pick back to a point you mentioned a little bit earlier, that you want to expand out and you do see a world where there is co-working with childcare closer to people's homes.
Mhm.
Should everything go well and you feel more supported and can spend more time strategically, could we see more Alison powered covens opening in the next couple of years?
I think so.
Well,
Yes.
I cannot wait for
I
that.
hope.
And I look forward to having you back on to tell us about that, because it's absolutely needed. I applaud you for everything you're doing. Now, my last question for you is, why now? Well, it's two part. Why now and what next? Right? We've kind of touched on it a little bit, but why at the end of 2025 is this the right timing to make this move? Is it more personal, or is it just the opportunity popped up? What drove the decision to make now?
I think it is personal, like, it made so much sense to me personally, but I also think that the Coven just has, they have some amazing plans and vision, and they are really, they're out there really doing this work. I was like, I didn't wanna get left behind. I would rather, kind of get on if they wanna be in North Carolina and I wanna be a part of them, this is the time, and we're just, we're gonna make it happen.
And you're absolutely making it happen. I look forward to the switchover happening in a couple of weeks. Alison, thank you so much for joining us. I know from our side of the world, there's a lot of people sitting at that point where like, I've been doing this for so long. Do I sell? Do I expand? Do I do those? So thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing so openly, Alison.
I was happy to.